Do you remember the title of this panel? Do you remember it? Someone remembers it? Blockchain for Humanity? Are we ready to change the world?
Yes.
You feel yourself, yeah? And maybe, because this comes from a personal feeling, like many of us, I have been like for so many years thinking in changing the rules. I studied business administration to learn the rules and then maybe change them. But I have a feeling like, oh shit, this is like a bit quixotic and very idealistic. And I was like, having the illusion, but like seeing it very, very hard. But now, and that's the starting point, I have the feeling that there is people with the different ideas that have the resources to make this happen. And there is also people that the most important resource that we have, there is the combined work of our brain and heart, is also taking advantage of that money that now is available to turn the world like a fucking shock. So, what's your feeling about this? How are your sensations now? How do you feel strong now to make it?
Yeah, I personally can say I think it's happening now. I think it's been happening in the last year when all the blockchain for social impact projects started to appear, and as well as many other blockchain projects, they're releasing now. They're like, it's only now this year, this quarter, that actually the projects start to appear. They start to have actual users, and the future is now.
Yeah, future is now, but maybe you could also be afraid of the others, the regulators.
As I was saying yesterday in the small chat we have about communities, for once the opportunity to make this huge change is within our hands, not in the hands of others. We don't have to wait until the regulators think how we are going to do it, because this is new. This is a path we have to open. We cannot follow others to look for reference. And we need to act consciously and responsibly. So I think regulation will come along with us because we're trying to do things the right way. But I think it's in the hands of everybody. It's in the hands of the community to implement these huge changes.
That's disruption, right?
Exactly.
Interesting point.
So I think that we do have the technology and the tools in our hands, as Gabriela was saying, but still we are not seeing a lot of blockchain projects that bring the blockchain advantages to Earth, to real world people. And I think that's something that you, Alex, may know very well. I think that you have been experiencing some trouble finding implemented projects in the real world, and that's why we are here, right?
But
If I may, Alex.
you were talking, just a point
Sure.
of you talk, and then
Okay.
you were talking about the things we can control and the things that we can't control.
Exactly.
So we feel comfortable with the things we can control. We feel like committed, together, we're going for it. But what about the other side? What do you think? The people that hold the power now is not going to stay quiet. We can have our illusions, our work, and go forward. But we must never underestimate the other side.
Of course, that's, I think that's, it's applicable throughout centuries to the entire human civilization. The biggest problem we people have to solve is our communication, is ability to talk to one another, to understand one another, to be compassionate about one another. And with having this in mind, technology is out there. Technology is available. Skills are out there. We have some amazing talents out there. People who are super creative, both with the black screen and the code, and graphically, and they can offer some great UI, UX, great branding, something that's really catchy, that's touching your heart. It's just a matter of putting all the dots together, building the team, working together, and achieving the goal.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Wojtek, about the things we can't control?
I mean,
And how can we protect our vision?
this is my greatest fear, that the blockchain technology and any new technology per se, since it's being maybe misused, maybe a little bit abused, it's going to drive the legislation and everything away from the potential that it has. And that's the greatest fear I have. Luckily, we're not there yet, but you know, every single scammy ICO that is happening, every single fraudulent website is contributing towards that, and it's a time race. We either show first the good uses of this technology, or we don't, and then it might be too late.
Good point. Good point, and it's also in Blockchain for Humanity what we are trying to do too, because it's like he was saying, we gotta show governments the other uses, for good uses. So when everything bursts, there will be a time. The question is when. We still have this substrate of our previous work to go on with it without the barriers of regulators to execute our vision.
I think it's super important that we're talking about that, and the fact that from all the ICOs and dying CryptoKitties and everything that's out there, some people may have good ideas, but putting a WordPress landing page and a PDF or a white paper is not enough. And I think that the subject of blockchain for humanity it has to be a movement. It has to be an awakening movement to tell everyone. Basically, and your role here is crucial. It's absolutely crucial. So I know, Alex, you will be making the summary later on today, and you remember what I told you yesterday. We have to educate. We have to talk with one another. We have to learn from our peers. We have to network. We have to stay in touch. We have to support each other, and we have to get new people in. This is a revolution that's starting, and there is a fear. There is a fear of unknown, fear of change. It's natural. But it's unstoppable, and we're here to make it civilized, to make it gradual, to build the snowball effect, to get more people on board, and effectively we will be stronger than governments. We'll be stronger than the oil lobbyists, the bank lobbyists. This will happen.
I think going again with this, that what you can control and you cannot control. I think the part we can control is moving forward. So we have to build faster than the dark side, and we have to spread word. Everybody from his little, I always say like beaches are constructed of tiny grains of sand. So we are tiny grains of sand, but we are a lot. So everybody can contribute to blockchain community, to spread word of it, to talk about it, to use it as a normal thing. My small contribution comes from not just my project, but something I heard in New York, this young artist. She said to promote the normality of this technology into the normal world was every time she's going to do a payment with a card, she would ask, "Oh, do you receive crypto?" Like the owner would say, "Oh, not yet."
Set the expectation.
Yeah, so next time someone asks him, it will be like a normal thing. It will become normal. So that's the forward push we can do to this movement, not just
I love
fear.
It's a great idea.
Don't fear about what's going on. Move faster than that fear, I think.
But I also think that in addition to education and in addition to communication, which is a key factor here, I think that humanity has never seen a easiest way to align incentives towards triple bottom line projects than today with blockchain. And that's one of the main reasons I joined the crypto world. I come from the circular economy projects world, the sustainable development world, and trying to make all these projects happen with a lot of different stakeholders with very, very different interests, and most of the times not aligned. So I think with the token economy, this is our time to also not just foster social impactful projects, but also give the economic benefit to those that want to contribute to the cause, but may also need to see or want to see an economic benefit. So I think it's our time to also not just communicate and educate, but to design a good mechanisms of the token of our projects to align incentives of many different sectors of society.
That's it. You maybe thought about, many of you have heard me this before, blockchain will change a lot of things, but human condition is human condition. Humans tend to be greed, tend to be a lot of things, but the good news is that this technology has an enormous power to shape our behavior through the correct incentives, with the correct actors at the right moment for the right objective. So that's the hope part. Even though humans are wolves, but a wolf incentivized in the good way could turn a good wolf.
Technology affects the way humans relate to each other. We can see it. This decentralizing of the trust is transforming more socially than economically. It's obvious, but socially, the impact of this change, we will see it. We are seeing it already through technology. We already trust third parties, foreigners, strangers. Say when we use a BlaBlaCar or when we hire our Airbnb, would you thought, I mean, our mothers or our grandmothers would think of letting her house to someone they didn't know or visiting the house of a stranger? We were taught, like, don't trust strangers. That's what we do every day when we use the social networks, when we interact in that way. So that's a development, a change in our behavior, change through technology. So I think we will keep moving forward in that way.
Any thought about it? I don't want to be the only talking, raising other.
Totally agree. You know, the shared economy way of living is a great thing, and you know, there's